Thank you for joining me for this navigation. Number 10. This is Kazujiro Miyoshi. Today, I will talk about John Pickering's vocabulary or collection of words and phrases which have been supposed to be peculiar to the United States of America, 1816, under the title John Pickering's Vocabulary, 1816 Reconstructed, America's earliest philological exploration of lexicography, which is based on the presentation at the International Congress, as you see. Section 1, Introduction. The American lexicographer John Pickering has been highly acclaimed among authorities on Americanisms. His dictionary, The Vocabulary, 1816, and the full title shown at number 1 of the reference. For instance, as quoted at number 2, Allen Reed, a masterly scholar of Americanisms, acclaiming Pickering as one of the most perceptive linguists America had produced. He also regarded the vocabulary as an important landmark in the study of the English language in America. However, despite such a situation, there is the fact that research on the vocabulary had scarcely been done after the 1950s. Two reasons are conceivable for this pretermission. One is the assumption that the research on Pickering's vocabulary had already been exhausted by Reed, and the other, the judgment that the vocabulary is essentially not a scholarly dictionary. As to the latter possible reason, it has usually been the customary practice for authorities to such passages as quoted at number 3 by Pickering in his essay, which is prefixed to the vocabulary. Then, had research on Pickering's vocabulary almost thoroughly been done by Reed? Is the dictionary mainly subjectively based? My answer to these questions is never in the least. Actually, when browsing through 113 entries in the vocabulary, could head word and head phrases begin with the letters J, K, L, M, N, O, and P, which comprise approximately 18% of all its entries, we can notice Pickering having used well more than 60 reference materials. And when seeing these reference materials, Pickering is found to have used them quite finely, thus the body of the vocabulary being highly scholarly and even philological. I here use the term philological based on Tom MacArthur's definition of the philology, which I quote at number 4. As far as I can judge, this fact seems to have been almost thoroughly passed over in research on Pickering's vocabulary until today. And now, after the preamble so far, my intention in this paper is to clarify Pickering's use of dictionaries out of his reference materials within the range of the 113 entries I have mentioned. In order for this purpose, I will divide my analysis into 4 sections. They are dictionaries consulted by Pickering, ways of using dictionaries, the use of Webster's and Johnson's dictionaries, and comparative observation of dictionaries. Section 2. Dictionaries consulted by Pickering. If we seek to know what dictionaries Pickering referred to in his vocabulary, the fact is perceived that he used at least 18 dictionaries by 40 lexicographers within the range of my scope. They are as shown in the table at number 5. Here, the addition, when it is specified, is based on Pickering's indication, and I also note the frequency of his reference to each of the dictionaries. It may be said that this table shows an aspect of extensive knowledge of Pickering's, who was present in the 1810s America concerning dictionaries in two respects. One is that he referred to dictionaries of pronunciation, of spelling, of dialects, and of arts and literature, along with the general type of dictionary. This suggesting his command of using various types of dictionaries in a highly appropriate way. The other is that he referred to the different editions of one specific dictionary, as seen in the cases of the dictionaries of John Entick and William Perry, signifying the fact that his interest extended to the development of dictionaries, as to which I will mention in section 5. Section 3, Ways of Using Dictionaries. The table I have provided at number 5 showed that Pickering referred to 18 dictionaries 84 times in all. He performed this in 47 entries by actual count, which account for 41.6% of the 113 entries of our scope. Then, in what ways did he use the 18 dictionaries? Concerning this point, he used the dictionaries in 3 ways, which I will analyze one by one. Firstly, he referred to dictionaries 45 times to show whether or not specific words are treated in them, and when they are treated, to show whether or not their specific meaning are treated. One example of that case is shown at number 6. This example will be also regarded as Pickering's close perusal to each dictionary which he referred to when we see the phrase in the round brackets. Secondly, in 31 times of reference, he cites the views of the relevant lexicographers as to the use of words as shown at number 7. And thirdly, with regard to the remaining 8 cases, that is 76 minus 45 minus 23, Pickering used dictionaries in the way in which the first and second ways are combined, like the one at number 8. Section 4, the use of Webster's and Johnson's dictionaries. With the recognition of the 3 ways of Pickering's use of dictionaries, which I have shown above, in mind, out of the 18 dictionaries he most frequently referred to, Noah Webster's Compendious Dictionary of the English Language 1806 and Samuel Johnson's Dictionary of the English Language, edition not specified, which I cite at number 9. To be specific, Pickering referred to Webster's Compendious 22 times in all in 20 entries, and Johnson's Dictionary 18 times in all in 18 entries, both within the range of our scope. It will be seen how often Pickering referred to the 2 dictionaries when we recognize the fact that his reference to the third most frequently cited dictionary, namely Francis Grove's provincial glossary is limited to 7 times in all in 7 entries, which is also indicated in the table at number 5, which I have shown, or table 1 in my paper on the preceding, in the table at number 5. This is regarded as evidence of the fact that Pickering attached special importance to the treatment of Webster's Compendiums and Johnson's Dictionary. In this fashion, if we are to clarify Pickering's reference to dictionaries in his vocabulary, a close analysis of his use of the two dictionaries would be unavoidable. I will, in the following, examine how he treated Webster's Compendiums and Johnson's Dictionary in this order. Section 4.1 Webster's Compendiums Dictionary. As to his reference to Webster's Compendiums, in order to know how intensively Pickering read the dictionary, it will be almost enough to see the beginning of the entry on previous in the vocabulary, which is cited at number 10. If, without closely perusing the compendiums, he could not have said like this. The situation is the same not only about the aspect of words as seen in the examples above, but also about that of meaning. That is, we can see such examples as shown at number 11, which is from the entry on location. Pickering actually cites words and meanings peculiarly treated in Webster's Compendiums in 8 entries out of the relevant 20 there as indicated at number 12. Section 4.2 Johnson's Dictionary. Pickering is thought to have been considerably familiar with the contents of Johnson's Dictionary. The passage from the entry on to progress in the vocabulary cited at number 13 is one example which showed how closely Pickering perused Johnson's Dictionary. These remarks also suggest the possibility that Pickering even noticed the fact that Johnson put an accent mark in the relevant entry word, although it is not certain which edition of Johnson's Dictionary Pickering referred to. We can see that the entry word is written as shown at number 14. We can also see Pickering's description as cited at number 15 in the entry on obnoxious, this time concerning the meaning of the word. From an overall viewpoint, Pickering, in my scope, referred to Johnson's Dictionary in the entries cited at number 16. It will be notable that all references in such entries concern the substantial contents of Johnson's Dictionary. There had probably been very few persons in America who had perused Johnson's Dictionary so closely before Pickering. Section 5. Comparative observation of dictionaries. Thus far, I have analyzed the Pickering's use of dictionaries, especially dealing with his treatment of Webster's and Johnson's. However, Pickering's use of dictionaries is not limited to his reference to each one specific dictionary. The most significant is the fact that he quite frequently compared the dictionaries, especially focusing on the contents of Webster's and Johnson's. As one example, the entry on jeopardize reads as quoted at number 17. And we can see the passage in the entry on to legislate as cited at number 18. Okay? It may be said that this passage, which showed an aspect of the development of dictionaries, reflects how intently Pickering did research on lexicography. However, this is not only seen in the examples above. He performed such practice in 18 entries in my scope. The table at number 19 indicates the name of lexicographers whose dictionaries Pickering referred to in each of the entries. In the entries cited in the table, we can clearly see a method of comparative lexicography. Okay. Section 6, Conclusion. To summarize my analysis in this paper, Pickering was versed in the characteristics of wide range of English dictionaries, making the fullest possible use of them to research the historical background of Americanisms or words and phrases which have been erroneously ascribed to Americanism. This will be regarded as splendid in the 1810s America. In my understanding, the substantial contents of Pickering's vocabulary have been made light of for 2 centuries since its publication. These are cited references in my talk. And this is also part of my cited references. Thank you very much for joining me in this exploration. If you find the topic this time interesting, it is expounded in detail in my paper as you see.